So many guys tell stories about your work ethic.
Yeah.
What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Well, every day. Since 20 years, it was an everyday process, and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Now, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or a 40, 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive, right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast, right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game, and it just never changed.
If you're interested in an outcome, you will do what's convenient. You'll come up with excuses, stories, reasons to support your convenience, desire. And so here's my question for you. Are you interested, or are you committed? The universe responds to the man or woman that refuses to be denied. You've got to be willing to stand there and face disappointment, not have support. Doubt yourself, sometimes be rejected again and again and again, and refuse to turn around until life gives it up. Nothing can resist the person that has that kind of commitment. Keep focusing on your dream, keep going after the dream, because that's where true success is. I will not give up, I will not surrender. I will not quit, this is your year, do you hear me?
The most important thing, I think, for players that come after me is you don't want to ever limit your imagination, because people may think you're crazy, but if us as athletes don't think that it's possible to do these things, how in the world can we inspire people?
Well, because I think the greatest fear that we face is ourselves, actually. I think it's not anything that's external or anything that's superficial. I think the greatest fear you face is yourself, because we all have dreams, and it's very scary sometimes to accept the dream that you have. And it's scarier still to say, okay, I want that. It's scary because you're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you going to feel about yourself?
Are you committed? Because without commitment, nothing happens. If you're not committed, you're not going to make it. You have to be committed through the storm and the rain and the heartache and the pain and the disappointment, or you're not going to make it. It's a commitment, it's not a feeling. Why is it that people are frightened by commitment? Because when you say the word, commitment, that intimidates a lot of people. Why? Because it means you have to deliver. See, most people you ask, and hey, looky, I'd like you to do this, they'll say, I'll try. I'll try memes, that is my escape clause. When I don't come through, it's really a polite no. I don't have the courage to tell you no, so I'll tell you I tried. Most people like to use that language. They don't want to commit themselves, because commitment means, among many things, no excuse is acceptable. No excuse that if you decided that you want to do this, if it becomes caught, then do it hard. If it's difficult, so what if it's inconvenience? So let's see, a lot of people made a commitment to come here tonight, but they looked outside and said it's raining. The temperature dropped all outside, and they decide to give up on their commitment. And that's how people do about their dreams. When you're committed to an outcome, there are no excuses, there are no stories, there are no reasons not to achieve it.
I think that's when the idea of understanding a long-term view became important, because I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week. I wasn't going to catch them in a year, right? So that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is going to take some thought, right? What do I want to work on first? All right, shooting. All right, let's knock this out. Let's focus on this. Half a year, 6 months, do nothing but shoot. Right after that, all right, creating your own shot, and then you focus. So I started creating a menu of things. When I came back the next summer, I was a little bit better.
Now, some of the things that's going to happen when you look out and see, what can I contribute to what can I give? I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have a voice of saying, it's just no use, it's out of control. Now there will be a voice telling you that you'll be wasting your time and wasting your energy and wasting your effort. I say don't listen to it, listen to that still small voice. It says, I can do something, and I ought to do what to you when you no longer fear dying. What else can life threaten you with? What else see when you are willing to risk all of it? See, that's what life is, so you've got to be willing to give it all up. Resolve says I will, two of the most powerful words in the language, I will. Benjamin Disraeli once said, "Nothing can resist a human will that will stake even its existence on the extent of its purpose." Shortly put, I'll do it for die.
What I try to do is just try to be still and understand that things come and go, emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all, and then you can choose to do with them what you want versus being controlled by emotion. You know, a lot of times I've seen players, even myself, you know, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear, and to the point where you're saying, okay, nah, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in this situation right now. And it does nothing but grow versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about this situation. Yeah, I am fearful about this situation. But what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination.
There's nothing off limits. There are no limitations. There are no limitations to those who believe and those who are willing to work for their dream. You have to see it in your mind before you can see it. In your reality, you have to be a visionary. Promise yourself you'll read the books. Until your skills change, you'll go for it. Until you understand it, you'll practice it until you develop the skill. Never give up until go for it. Don't miss the chance to grow. We gave meanings to the experiences of our life where other people gave meanings to the experiences that we were having. What you believe will dictate your thoughts on a moment-by-moment basis.
Running its course, you know. You'll have the pressure on yourself to play, you know, to capitulate to that fear. If you play with the sense of I want to win, then you have the fear of what happens if you don't. But if you find common ground in the middle, in the center, then it doesn't matter. You're unfazed by either, right? And that enables you to really just stay in the moment, stay connected to it, and not feel anything other than what's in front of you. So, you know, I try to just be dead center. When we lost in the finals to the Celtics in 2008, that was a turning point. You know, so when I sat there in the hotel room afterwards, I started thinking about that, you know, because it's on me. If I didn't feel like my teammates were aggressive enough, that falls on me. And I had to understand what their journey was. How are they feeling as people? What are they going through?
We decide whether or not we can be broken. We decide how far we're willing to go. And at the end of the day, how far you're willing to go, how indomitable your will really is, comes down to one simple thing. Do you believe in what you're fighting for, or the hard times? Something that you're willing to push through, to persevere, to get to the other side, because you believe to the core of your being and what you're fighting for. And that is something we all have to define for ourselves. That is something we'd all have to build into the very core of our being. You want to set some high standards for yourself. There's greatness in you, and you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. And since I'm going to do this, I'm going to harness my will, and I'm not going to let anything stop.